Hello, and you're all very welcome along to the latest Champ.ie podcast, Ireland's premier horse racing podcast in association with Boyle Sports, Gowran Park, EJ Menswear, Shamrock Thoroughbreds, Midland Travel and McCafferty's traditional Irish bars.
They're coming to the final fence in the 25 Govs tie yesterday. Nick Rocket lands in the lead from Velvet Elvis, gone well clear of Favori de Shondu and Bushman's Pass. They're well strung out. Nick Rocket on the stand side for win number 10 in the race for Willie Mullins.
Enter our Champ.ie headline competition in association with Midland Travel, where you could win a trip for two to the Cheltenham Festival 2026. For a chance to win, simply subscribe to the Champ.ie podcast on YouTube if you haven't already, and scan the QR code to enter your competition details today. We look forward to discussing your weekly #5cast selections in the comment section below. Hello, and you're all very welcome along to Season 7, Episode 14 of the Champ.ie Horse Racing Podcast. And before we start, a very happy Christmas to you. It is, of course, our Christmas show, and we have such an action-packed show coming up for you. Let's take a look at what is coming up. Well, we've, as always, going to look at 5 of the key races from Leopardstown, Kempton and Chepstow. We've got a very special guest in Eric McNamara. We're going to have his interview a little later on in the show. We also take a look at the Christmas best bets, of course. And, of course, we'll be looking ahead and hearing from Stephen Thorne, as well as giving you some details on the winter prize draw and when our winners will be announced. Right, well, that's what's coming up in the show. Before we start, let's get a little sneak of what Eric McNamara will be telling us all about later on.
Les Jours de Palma is one that we like a lot, and he's dynamite. I suppose if you followed those 4, you mightn't be doing too bad.
Yes, and before we get started into the 5 key races that we're going to look at for you over Christmas, let's give you a chance to win a big prize. That is a trip for 2 with Midland Travel and Champ.ie to the Cheltenham Festival in March.
To begin with a chance of winning an all-inclusive trip for 2 to the 2026 Cheltenham Festival in association with Midland Travel, Ireland's leading horse racing travel specialist. Simply subscribe to Champ.ie on YouTube if you haven't already, and scan the QR code on screen and answer the following question. Who won the 2025 Cheltenham Gold Cup? Was it 1. Galopin de Champ, 2. I Know the Way You're Thinking, or 3. Marine Nationale? Register your competition details today, including your YouTube username. Don't forget, you must subscribe to Champ.ie on YouTube to qualify. The competition winner will be announced on Thursday, the 12th of February. Best of luck and be lucky.
Yes, and Barry, before we start, a very happy Christmas. Can't believe it's crept up on us so quickly, but from a racing point of view, it's always a great time of year.
Absolutely. Just quickly on the draw, Dave, a very happy Christmas to all our viewers, of course, but the draw itself, if you're not in, you can't win, Dave. Scan that QR code up on screens to enter, or if you are watching this on a phone device, Dave, you can click the link in the podcast description to enter. It only takes a couple of minutes. And a very happy Christmas to you, Dave, and all the viewers. Really looking forward to it. The King George, of course, Team Ireland have won the race, of course, on 3 occasions in the last 4 years. And the big news in the last, I suppose, 24 hours, we've a bit of a switcheroo. I think Festive, everyone thought he was going to go to the, of course, Savills chase at Leopardstown, but I think Frank Berry has announced today that the horse is set for Kempton. And I have to say, I think it's the right call. That's a mega clash, but it's not all about Close Sutton. We'll discuss it in just a couple of moments, Dave.
We're going to look ahead at 5 key races for you over Christmas. And of course, the first of those is the 3 Mile King George on St. Stephen's Day, with the Welsh National, the big handicap chase, the listed contest at Leopardstown, the Savills chase, and the Neville's Hotel handicap listed contest. Right, the first race we do look at is the King George. The betting, Gaelic Warrior, 9-4 as we record. Fact to File, who's been a big mover in that market, 5-2. Django By at 3-1. The Jukebox Man is 11-2. It's 10's bar, Barry. Before we look at it, give us some key trends ahead of the big race.
Yeah, a couple of key race trends, Dave, in the King George. Of course, Team Ireland have won 3 of the last 4 renewals. And interesting, Dave, we only had 3 winning favourites in the last 12 years for the King George. I think in terms of win bets, Dave, you could make a case for 3 of them here. Factifile, Gaelic Warrior and Django Bay. I think it's between the 3 of them. The Jukebox Man, for me, don't think his form really stacks up at this level. Of course, he won at Kempton. I think he'll set a good pace. Ile Francais is in there as well, which is why I think the pace angle is important to mention in the King George. It's set up for Django Bay, of course, at Ascot last time in the 1965 chase. I think it could do the same once again here. He'll handle the nice ground. And for me, Dave, I think Django Bay is one of the most progressive horses in training, and he's crying out for the 3 miles. The Arkle form, we've mentioned this a couple of times this season already. I think it looks rock solid. I mean, he won that race, a grade 1 over fences, over a trip plenty short, staying on, looks all stamina. And I think stamina, the way this race is going to be run, even though we do have the likes of your Factifile and your Gaelic Warriors in here, your classier types, your 2.5 mile horses, I think stamina could be at a premium in this year's King George. Django Bay was, of course, a career best last time when producing an RPR of 171 at Ascot. So he's going in the right direction. And I think he had an easier race when winning at Ascot than maybe Factifile or Gaelic Warrior had at Punchestown. That's the question for me. Willie Mullins, I think as we're recording, Dave, has he had 16 or 17 turned over favourites in the last 2-week period? So that'd be a slight concern. And the hard race the Factifile or Gaelic Warrior might have had in the John Durkin. For me, it's all about Django Bay. I'm really keen on his chances, Dave. I think he's crying out for 3 miles at Kempton and is jumping a massive acid in a King George.
Right. Well, the second race we are going to look at is going to be run, of course, on the 27th of December. It is the 3 mile 6 furlongs Welsh National, the big Premier handicap, of course, with Jubilee Express 6-1, Mr. Van Gogh 7-1, Haughty Colours 15-2, Gitmaker 8-1, O'Connell good winner last time, and Shaman Uchi, who's a 10-1 chance, Barry. And I believe maybe you have a little slight preference for the second of the Sam Thomas entered runners in the Welsh National.
Yeah, we Sam on the podcast last week, and look, first of all, Welsh trainers in this race, Dave, you do well. Well, it pays to side with them. They've won 3 of the last 6 renewals, and of course, Sam nearly won it last season as well with Jubilee Express, who looks well in on his former course in his prep run, won nicely and looks well in at the weights. But for me, his second, Sam couldn't split the two when we asked him the question. And Sean Manucci, I think it's almost a tip in itself that he expects this Sean Manucci to run a big race, and said that Dylan will have a real tough choice in which one he actually rides. Charlie Deutsch actually gets on with Sean Manucci, but it's a tip in itself for me. The fact he's only had 2 runs over fences, 1 run in a handicap chase. And look, the 3 mile 6 is an unknown, but I think he's an intriguing runner. He's only had 7 runs. He's an 8-year-old with a bit of back class as well, because he was 6th of 18 at a grade 2 entry bumper in the past. But an eye-catching debut, I thought, Dave. Charlie Deutsch, very tender, I thought, at Haydock when this horse finished 4th on his comeback and his prep. And he's been dropped 2 pounds for finishing, staying on 4th on that occasion. He did make a bad mistake 5 out, so that's worth noting. And as I said, if you're getting Charlie Deutsch right down the bottom, 10 stone 6 here, he has to be of major interest, really unexposed type. And I'd say the really tough conditions, I'm just looking at the weather forecast as well. I think we have 50 mil or something due between today and, it's going to be heavy ground between today and the 27th. So Sean Manucci, Sam was adamant that this horse would absolutely love the testing conditions as well and get you the ground at Chepstow. So looking forward to it. He's priced up at 12-1 best price, Sean Manucci, and it's the way I'm going to side.
Yeah, it's a cracking Welsh National to look forward to. Really looking forward to that one. Well, there's a real minefield of a listed handicap chase over 3 miles at Leopardstown, Barry, on the 27th.
Yeah, it is. And JP has farmed this race, of course, over the last 10 years. He's won 5 of the last 10 renewals. And that's, I suppose, younger profile as well, Dave. Those unexposed types can have a good record in this race. Neither the last 10 winners aged 6 and 8. And the one, I suppose, that does tick plenty of boxes if he goes for the race, Dave, is down memory lane. He could be unexposed over the 3 miles, as could Will the Wise, who ran a good race, a fine race, I thought, in the Tri-Town off 136. And he's just 2 pounds higher. So down memory lane, he was a really, in the early part of his novice chase career, he looked really exciting. And obviously he looked chucked in at Navan when winning last time. So he could be a plot job. Stamina, I don't think it's going to be an issue. And Gordon's horse is absolutely flying. But I suppose the most solid one for me, Dave, in the lineup is the horse that finished 2nd in the race last season. I thought the race last season is probably the best trial for the Paddy Power at Leopardstown on the 27th. Nick Rocket finished 4th behind, of course, Percival Lagalwa, and back in 2nd is my selection, Dave, for the race this year, Midnight Our Fred, who I thought ran a lovely prep at Cork last time, finished a good 2nd over hurdles in this prep run for the Flavin stable. And look, he's only £2 higher in this year's renewal of the Paddy Power. 10 stone 6. He'll go on the nice ground as well. I don't anticipate Dave soft ground at Leopardstown. It's going to be nice ground looking at the weather forecast, provided we don't have a change. Over fences, he's been in the money 6 of his 9 starts as well. So he's been mapped out for this race. As I said, he will appreciate the nicer ground. And it was a very eye-catching run. He actually, arguably, if he had made a mistake at the second last at Cork over hurdles, he could have actually won his prep. But I think he's interesting. The other one that jumped off the page for me was Captain Cody. Dave, me and you were on duty, of course, in the for the Scottish National, of course, up at Ayr. Willie Mullins was hunting for prize money, and Harry Cobden gave Captain Cody a peach of a ride. And look, he's rated 150 now. He won the Scottish National like Cato Star, to be fair. Never come off the bridle. And Willie has won this race, Dave, at Castlebawn West, I do believe, back in 2020, off top weight, and won 2 of the last 5 renewals. So I think Captain Cody, could we see Harry Cobden perhaps at Leopardstown on the 27th? I don't know. He's rode this horse on 2 occasions. He rode him, of course, in the Drinmore as well in his prep, where he finished 3rd to Romeo Coolio. So he's only beaten 9 lengths by arguably one of the most exciting novice chasers either side of the sea. There's no arguably about it, Dave. I think he's the Arkle winner in waiting. I put him up on the Road to Cheltenham show this week. So that reads good form. Captain Cody, Midnight or Fred. If you would allow me 2 darts, Dave, at the Paddy Power, 12 to 1 each way, Captain Cody. But Midnight or Fred, really solid. I think he'd run a big race and he's been mapped out for it. 14 to 1 for the Flavins each way down in County Waterford.
Yes, it's an absolutely brilliant race. Well, one man who has won this race and knows what it takes to win this race is our very special guest, Eric McNamara, who we're going to hear from now.
I suppose you must be delighted with how the horses are running.
Yeah, no, we've been lucky this year now, and we've won a few nice races, including Munster National and things like that. So we've been a bit lucky. We have a few nicer horses this year than we had in previous years, and it's all about the horses. You need decent horses to have to run and to be competitive nowadays. You know, we just have to try and keep the standard up, and very lucky that we have great owners here now and great staff, and well, we've always had good staff, thanks be to God. But you know, so now look onwards and upwards, and hopefully we have a couple of reasonably nice horses to run over the Christmas period as well.
Tell us more, I suppose, about the family involvement in the yard. You mentioned the staff and the team, but family play a big part for you as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Unfortunately, Connor broke a bone in his neck and broke 5 bones in his back last May in Killarney, and he's been out of action ever since. So he's a huge loss to us. But thanks be to God, my daughter Kate is here, and Kate's with us full time now. She's with us for the last couple of years, and without Kate, I would not survive at all. You know, there's so much paperwork and bookwork and everything involved in this game nowadays that I'd be lost without Kate. She gives me a huge hand inside in the office. She mucks out, she rides out. She's the backbone of the whole operation, to be honest with you.
Limerick is your home track, and I spoke to you earlier, of course, my old boss, Michael Lynch, doing a tremendous job, obviously, at Limerick Racecourse, the Munster National you mentioned. You had a 1-2 in the Boyle Sports Munster National. That must have given you a great thrill, you and the family.
Absolutely. You know, it's a race that's very close to our hearts. You know, Boyle Sports Grand National, and named in honour of John Thomas McNamara, who was a fantastic friend of mine. You know, myself and John Thomas go back an awful long way. He rode numerous point-to-point winners for me. He rode my first Cheltenham winner ever. You know, we were huge friends, and to win that race in his honour was a huge plus for the yard. Absolutely.
What makes Limerick Racecourse at Christmas so special to you?
I suppose it's local, and I've an awful lot of local owners who love to have runners inside there, and you know, it's a huge festival. It's 4 days, and you know, I'm no different to anyone else. We'd love to have winners there. Last year on St. Stephen's Day, we had a double, so that was a huge achievement for the yard, and we got to try and keep it going now and make sure that we don't leave empty-handed again this year. We've been lucky over numerous years. We haven't left Limerick without one winner. So I'll be happy once we have one again this year. But once we get one, then it's in the nature of us. We're all greedy. We all want more. So we'll have a go. With 3 or 4 horses to go to Leopardstown as well. So hopefully they might have a chance, and would it be lovely to win one up there also.
Talk us through the likely runners for Limerick over the 4 days firstly.
Yeah, we've a horse called Starting 15 the first day. He's probably our main hope on the first day. He'll either run in Limerick or Leopardstown. He's going to be entering the 4-year-old maiden hurdle in both, and we'll have a look at it near the time and make a decision. But he's a really nice horse. Dream in the Park, there's one there last year. He'll probably run there in the handicap chase. What else have we? Gaelic the Chastity may run there that day. We've a good few. The second day, then we've Decimation, Torps, horse called Azure de Palma. There's one there earlier on in the year. He'll run either on the third or the fourth day. He'll have his chance. He's Dynamite is another one. Hopefully, he'll probably wait until the fourth day, the 2 mile 6 novice handicap chase. He'll have his chance. So, hopefully every day we go in there, we'll have something with a chance anyway.
What about L'Evangeliste? Could we see this one out soon?
No, he won't run in Limerick over Christmas or Leopardstown. We'll find something for him there in late January. He's had 3 or 4 races in short enough space of time, so we're going to avoid the Christmas with him. He's a horse we think an awful lot of, so we'll aim him more towards February, March, April, rather than running him over the Christmas.
And the form actually from that win, of course, from his win has worked out well with Mullaglass coming out and winning, of course, for the Slatteries at down in County Tipperary. That went on to run well for a long time in Cheltenham.
Yeah, the form of his race have worked out seriously good altogether. If you go back to his bumper where he beat Henry de Bromit's horse, the first 5 or 6 horses in that bumper in Limerick have all won since. He won his maiden hurdle in Galway, as you just mentioned, and the second horse, Slattery's horse, has won since. And even the form of his Fairy House win only 2 or 3 weeks ago, the horse that was second to Paul Nolan's horse that was second to us, won his maiden hurdle during the week in Naas. So his form is very solid, and a lovely, lovely horse. But we're just going to have a bit of patience with him.
Are you hopeful that he'll make up into a graded horse?
I am. And even if he doesn't make a graded horse over hurdles, I'd like to think that in the long term he'd make it into a graded horse over fences. He's an out-and-out 3 mile chaser in the making, and hopefully he'll win a big 3 mile chase for us someday.
Speaking of 3 mile chasers, of course, we've all been caught. Entered up, of course, in the Paddy Power at, of course, handicap chase on the 27 at Leopardstown. He must have you fairly excited heading into Christmas.
He's a lovely, lovely horse. Yeah. He was second, as you know, in the John Thomas McNamara Boyle Sports Munster National, and he's in great shape. He's very, very fit, very, very healthy, very well in himself, and he goes to Leopardstown, obviously with the same owner, Tyke Moynihan, again, and we're very much looking forward to him, and he'll give a good account of himself, and whether he's good enough or not in that competitive race will remain to be seen, but he'll give a good account of himself, and he'll be very competitive, and he has his chance, no doubt about that.
You mentioned Tyke Monahan, of course, he owned Real Steel who won the race for yourself back in 2022. That was a tremendous day for the whole team with Conor on board, of course, on that occasion. That day must rank pretty high in terms of, the big days in your racing, in your training career thus far.
Absolutely, and especially, no matter how much thrill you get out of training horses and all that, when your son is on board, and he absolutely gave him the ride of his life that day. He was absolutely superb in Real Steel that day to get him up in the dying strides to win. So obviously that's an added bonus when one of your own is on board. But this year, sadly, Connor's out injured, so he won't be there. But please God, Sean Flanagan, who rode him in the Munster National, we're hoping he'll take the reins again, and we'll go there and we'll give it our best shot, that's for sure.
After winning his point-to-point and heading novice hurdling, I think there was high hopes for this horse. What do you like most about him? What do you think are his best attributes?
He's just such an honest, game, genuine horse. Anyone can ride him. He's the nicest human being of a horse, if there's such a thing to have anything got to do with. He's kind-natured, and he's just a gem of a horse to have anything got to do with. What
else have you got lined up then for Leopardstown over the Christmas period?
Millstream Lady will run in the Pertemps Handicap Hurdle Qualifier. She was second there a few weeks ago, so she'll go back there and try and go one better. And County Final may run on the last day up there in the 2.5 mile novice handicap hurdle. owned by JP McManus. We're very much looking forward to him. He was second in Punchestown a couple of weeks ago, and that looks an ideal race for him. Although he will be entered in 1 or 2 races in Limerick, I'd say it's more likely he will go to Leopardstown on the Monday.
What next for the of course, Munster National with our French Dynamite?
My long-term objective is to run him in the Aintree National. So we're going to work back from there. There is a very suitable race for him in Punchestown in a few weeks' time. Whether we'll take that in the meantime or not, but he won't go to Leopardstown or Limerick over Christmas. He definitely won't go there, and we'll take our time with him. And as I say, we have a long-term target in the Aintree National that I want to run him in. So we'll take our time with him.
Of those mentioned, what would you say at this point in time might be your best chance of a winner over the Christmas period, Eric?
Possibly starting 15 maybe. On the first day, he's really, really nice horse. I wouldn't put anyone off of having a few quid each way, and we've all been caught in the Paddy Power handicap chase in Leopardstown, and Les Jours de Palma is one that we like a lot, and he's dynamite. I suppose if you followed those 4, you mightn't be doing too bad.
Finally, before we wrap up, is there any other horse, maybe one that we haven't mentioned, that stands out for you for the rest of the season? So long term for the season, is there any other horse that maybe stands out that we didn't mention already?
I suppose maybe a horse called Torps. He's been very unlucky that he's still a maiden. If you had said to me 12 months ago that he'd be still running in a maiden herd in Limerick next Christmas, I'd have said not a hope, because he's too good a horse to be still a maiden. So maybe Torps, if Torps could get his head in front over the Christmas period, he may well go on and win 2 or 3 for us.
Goals for the remainder of the season. What would you and the team love to achieve between now and the end of the season?
Actually, we'd like to just keep going the way we're going and keep having an odd winner and beat our tally that we had last year, which it looks on target to do that. Have more winners and have more prize money, and please God, as the season progresses, that we can get ourselves in a situation where we can buy a few more nice horses for the following year.
And Limerick for Liam McCarthy, are the boys on the comeback?
They're on the comeback this year. Watch out. They're on the comeback. Have no doubt about that.
Eric, fantastic speaking to you on the Champ.ie podcast for the very first time. Hopefully have you on again at some point. Thanks very much for your time. Best of luck with your number of horses over the Christmas period, and to the whole team, happy Christmas.
Gowran Park Racecourse, the premier racetrack in the southeast of Ireland, is located on the outskirts of Kilkenny City. Known as the race that stops the county, the famous Gobs Thaestes Chase 2026 takes place on Thursday the 22nd of January. With packed crowds expected once again this January, you can book your early bird tickets online today. Visit GowranPark.ie online, click the link in the Champ.ie podcast video description, or scan the QR code on screen to purchase right now.
Now boarding the train of thought.
Calling out. Injury Lane. Statminster. Opinion Circus. Last Chance Cross. And Decision Time.
Back yourself. Boyle Sports.
Yes, wonderful to hear from Eric McNamara. And we're expecting to him have plenty of winners. And of course, now that he's the local track Barry at Limerick over Christmas, and could have 1 or 2 as well, as we've heard there at Leopardstown.
Well, as I was saying to him off air, Dave, all he was missing was the red coat and of course, the grey beards heading into Christmas. I think 16 runners, he said, that he could have potentially. And as I said, a 1-2 in the Boyle Sports Munster National as well. I know Michael Lynch and all the team at Limerick Racecourse do a fantastic job down there. And it's a big 4 days for them. And Eric McNamara, I'm sure, will be on centre stage plenty over the coming days.
Absolutely. And we have 2 more races still to look forward to, of course, in the 5-cast selections. But before we do, a big thank you to our finance partner, Lonit, who, of course, are powering our video production and highlight reels on social media. And a big thank you to all our partners and a happy Christmas to each and every one of them. Gowran Park, Boyle Sports, EJ Menswear, Shamrock Thoroughbreds, McCafferty's Irish Bar and Midland Travel. Right, let's move on then to race number 4 of the 5 races that we're looking at for you. We move on, Barry, to what now is become an intriguing Savills chase. We've seen Savage money come for I Know the Way You're Thinking, last year's Gold Cup winner. We've got Galloping the Champ potentially in there as well. Looks to be, if the two of these line up, what a race we could have once again.
Galloping the Champ has been beaten on his first start for the last 2 seasons, but I just get the sense we're not going to see him as much this season, Dave, and I can't see how he's going to rock up to Leopardstown, short in terms of fitness. And so he's bidding for a hat-trick in the race, Dave. One trend he is looking to book. He is going to be my selection in the race, Dave. I think we don't need to spend too much or too long, should I say, on the Savills. I think this is his race. Only 2 of the last 26 winners, Dave, have been age 9 years of age or older. So he does have to book that trend. But to be fair, when we saw him last at Punchestown, I'm not saying it was a career best effort and the race probably did fall apart a little, but he won by 22 lengths and he looked to me as good as ever on that occasion. And the performances he's put in at Leopardstown, I mean, don't need me to tell you, Dave, 7 wins from 8 at Leopardstown, going for a 3rd Savills and a 13-time Grade 1 winner over fences. I'd say he'll be pretty ready for this. And just looking at those, I mean, there's only 2 horses in here, Dave, that are rated 170 plus. A lot of people said faster, slower on a terrific race in the John Dirk, and I didn't see it that way because I thought one of his biggest strengths, Dave, was his jumping. And I'm not entirely sure he jumped his best on that occasion and has a little bit to find. Galloping the Champ, look, on his best form, wins this easily. I know the way you're thinking. I know the money has come for him, but I think that's partly due to the fact that Factifile is going to the King George. So one that would get a mention that could be unexposed. Doesn't have the rating to win this, Dave, at the moment, but he could be unexposed at this level, and he does have decent back form as a novice over hurdles. Affordale Fury. Noel Meade has won this race, of course, in the last decade as well. Good winner at Thurles. Good second in Vialan in his race up at Down Royal. Has gone on a little bit of nicer ground in the past as well. He's rated 157, Dave. It's a huge ask. He's going to have to improve plenty. But he's a horse that could see running well at a big price if you're looking for one each way. And as I said, he's unexposed at this level. Not been tried really against these type of horses very much.
No, not very much indeed. But just before we leave this then, just a quick word. I'd love to get your thoughts on I Know the Way You're Thinking. Look, he ran no sort of race the last time in Punchestown. Really, it was just a 2-horse race that the front 2 battled it out, and the rest of them, for me, really didn't get involved. But look, when you think about Galloping the Champ, Barry, and what he has achieved, like we will look back maybe in time to come, particularly because how hard it is to get these Gold Cup winners back the following season, running at that level and getting them going. What Willie Mullins has done with Galloping the Champ, I think is, will go down as an extraordinary training performance in years to come. But I would like to just ask you, I Know the Way You're Thinking. Look, Gavin Cromwell's stable, it's been a little in, a little out. He's had his winners, but he's had plenty of maybe well-backed runners as well. What can we expect from him if the real I Know the Way You're Thinking turns up at Leopardstown?
I think Gavin's form is starting to turn, though. I mean, he's had 5 winners in the last fortnight. His strike rate, last month wasn't reading like that. And I think, to be fair, they've figured it out at the yard and horses starting to run well. I Know the Way You're Thinking, though, I suppose if you look at his form last season and how he progressed, to me, he looks like a spring horse. Beaten obviously in the John Durkin last season, beaten 15 lengths by Galloping at Christmas last year. And, he halved that deficit at the Dublin Racing Festival, only to be beaten 7 lengths. So, and then obviously went on to win by 6 in the Gold Cup. I'd say it's working back from the Gold Cup. Not saying he can't win this race, but Leopardstown to me doesn't appear to be his track thus far. And Galloping the Champ, I mean, on the front end, I mean, if he gets a freebie in here, Dave, and he turns up anything like the Galloping the Champ we saw at Leopardstown last season, I think he's going to be very tough to beat.
It's a cracking race. We're looking forward to it. The Savills, of course, at Leopardstown. Final race of the 5 then that we look at for you on the show today, of course, is the 2.5 miles Neville's Hotel handicap, which is, of course, a listed contest. And plenty of interesting runners in here, Barry. And I believe maybe you're looking at the way of bunting in around 10 to 1 for Willie Mullins. He's got plenty of entries in here.
He certainly does. Look, it's a competitive handicap. There's a couple on the short list, Dave. Wanted to give a mention to Bones on Fire as well, who has a couple of entries over the Christmas as well. Ran a real good race from finishing second, staying on for Jack Kennedy and Gordon Elliott's in that 100 grand handicap over the 2 miles at Fairy House, of course, at the Winter Festival there. And Jack, I think, did have to have a word with the stewards, but look, I think it was an eye-catching run. That's all I will say, Dave, in the 2 mile 100 grand handicap. And up and trip, I think, will suit. But Bunting, for me, Dave, could be one of the best handicapped horses, I think, in training. I mean, he has Christmas form. He won his juvenile hurdle on his first start for Woody Mullins at Christmas back in 23. But I think, look at how he progressed then at the Dublin Racing Festival. Ran a terrific race at Leopardstown on his second run for Woody Mullins in arguably what was the hottest spring juvenile that we've ever seen, with the likes of Majborough, Cargize, Calaconti and Ethical Diamond, of course, the Breeders' Cup winner in there. So obviously Bunting split the 4 that I've just mentioned. He's 98 on the flat. He proved his well-being back in October when finishing third in the Cesarewitch. So even though he disappointed at the festival in the Coral when he was well backed, he's forming decent ground, and he's proved his well-being, of course, at Newmarket. So he's 10-1, Dave. If he rocks up here off 134, to me, he could have a stone plus in hand. 2.5 miles looks ideal. So yeah, Bunting, if he rocked up, he would be one of my stronger handicap fancies of the Christmas period.
Yeah, really looking forward to that cracking race. Right, what have we still to come on the show for you? Well, we're going to hear from Stephen Thorne, and right after the next break, Barry and I will be looking elsewhere around the grounds for horses that are going to run over Christmas this year.
McCafferty's traditional Irish bars are located across Ireland, the UK, Spain and the United Arab Emirates. With authentic Irish decor, each McCafferty's venue is crafted to reflect the charm and warmth of a traditional Irish pub. When the horse racing is live, there is a McCafferty's traditional Irish bar located near you. McCafferty's bars provide the perfect backdrop and atmosphere to watch all horse racing and sports events, serving traditional Irish food and music played 7 days a week. Is your horse racing group planning a trip to the Dublin Racing Festival, the Epsom Derby or the Dubai World Cup? Then be sure to pop into the local McCafferty's traditional Irish bar either before or after racing. Can't make it to the big race day in person? Then why not enjoy a cold pint in Spain for Cheltenham or a creamy pint in Donegal during Aintree? Come to McCafferty's for the crack and stay for the experience. Check out McCafferty'sBars.com.
Yes, and a big happy Christmas to each and every one of our listeners out there. We've really enjoyed your contribution to the show in this part of the season. Of course, we've lots more to come as well on the Champ.ie Horse Racing Podcast. Barry, we're going to take a look at 5 runners. You're going to look at 4 of them, and I'm going to take a look at 1 elsewhere this Christmas. So I suppose firstly, I'm going to give you the floor for the first 2 you're going to take a look at.
Well, Dave, I'm actually going to be bold. I'm going to put 6 in, but I'm going to make it very, very quick because we had entries today, of course, for the 26th and the 27th. And horses that jump off the page. Just to say, Dave, before we get to this section of the show, our winter prize draw for the 5-cast. Put your 5-cast selections, of course, in the podcast description, but we will be putting out a little special ahead of Stephen's Day as well. So still an opportunity. That's where we're going to announce the winners on the build-up, of course. We will have decks for St. Stephen's Day on the 23rd. So looking forward to that. But 6 runners, Dave, or 6 that jump off the page for me. A couple maybe from not the big yards, to mention one from Mark Malloy in the novice handicap on the 26th at Leopardstown. Rated 113 and was raised £8 for winning at Gowran Park. I was actually down in Gowran Park when he won, of course, on handicap debut. A snug winner at Gowran. And look, he had ran over 2.5 miles. I just think the strong gallop and the stiff finish at Leopardstown is going to suit him. That 145 on St. Stephen's Day, that's for Mark Malloy on the 26th in that novice handicap. I think Leopardstown will suit that horse, and I think he's one. Dan King gave it a tremendous ride at Gowran Park, and he's one going in the right direction. Conor O'Dwyer gave a good mention to Salisbury Hill, who looks a good jumper of a fence, and the ground drying is looks like the ground is going to come right for Salisbury Hill. He's entered up in the 255, the 2 mile 1 handicap chase on the 26th at Leopardstown. And looking at the shape of the race and looking at his rating, it looks like he'll get in right down the bottom of the weights, 10 stone 2. I think he could be really interesting. Salisbury Hill, a nice jumper of a fence for Conor O'Dwyer. It'd be lovely to see him win a winner. So I think he's an interesting player each way. And the other one to mention before I let you in, Dave, because you have a couple to mention, Classical Creek. I think he's tailor-made for that 2 mile 7 grade 2. The Goffs defender, of course, novice hurdle. We saw, of course, Gigginstown, they've won the race, and Gordon 3 times in the last 6 years. When he won at Navan, I said straight away, he has to be tailor-made for Limerick at Christmas. The big Westerner won the race last season, and I thought he looked really straightforward. Of course, had form, Dave, as well, Classical Creek with Calypso's Chance and Heads Up, who ran a big race in the Champion Bumper, of course. But I think over hurdles, when he gets up to 3 miles and even beyond in time, he jumped well at Navan on his first start, and I thought he was really interesting. One of my better bets of the Christmas period, the 133 at Limerick, of course, over 2 mile 7.
Yeah, and the one runner that I'm most intrigued with over the Christmas is Copacabana, and I was very happy to hear Kevin O'Ryan, who was your very special guest on the road to Cheltenham this week, talk about Copacabana, how he looked a little big in the ring at Navan. He ran a cracking race for that. He's going to step forward. He is the one I'm most looking forward to seeing. I think he really could be a big star yet this season in the National Hunt. And wherever he lines up over Christmas, he is the one, Barry, I'm really looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, very interesting. You mentioned Copacabana. What about the novice hurdle form from last season? Honesty Policy. He's gone on to achieve a rating of 148, but a horse that was second to him was Come Walk With Me for Eddie Cawley. And this horse has had 2 spins over fences, of course, this season, but might revert. He's an entry in a handicap hurdle over 2 miles at Leopardstown on the 27th, the 222 race. And he's a cracking each way bet, I think, Dave, off 125. I think he's well handicapped over fences and hurdles. And through that form line, of course, second to Honesty Policy, who's now rated 148, and we're talking about him as a stayers contender. I think Come Walk With Me could be nicely treated. So he's interesting for Eddie Cawley, of course, who's no strangers to winners over Christmas. We saw, of course, Attaboy Charlie win at Leopardstown in the novice handicap a couple of seasons ago. And Come Walk With Me, interesting in that 222 on the 27th. Let It Rain, Dave. This is where we're going to get the Christmas money on Friday for the Skelton team. 0 to 120 rated handicap. This mare, I'm going to make a statement, Dave. I think she could be 20 pounds well in. It's definitely more than a stone well in, I think, off 120. If you look at her form, rock solid. Over hurdles, she won her maiden, of course, beating Ricola Vogue by 8 lengths in a canter. And she's gone on to achieve a rating of 127. And Celtic Dino, third to this mare, of course, Let It Rain, when she won the listed bumper at Ascot, of course, 2 seasons ago. Celtic Dino, of course, third on that occasion, and he's gone on to achieve a rating of 147. I know it's not an exact science, Dave, but if she can't win off 120, I give up. I'd imagine as well she'd be ready to rock and roll as well after meeting a little setback towards the second half of last season. So the last one to mention in the future novice hurdle, Romeo Coolio won it last season. Skylight Hustle, Dave. I know David Jennings is a huge fan. Well, so am I. I think he's a pacey type. 2 miles around, I think Leopardstown is really going to suit Romeo Coolio won the race last season. He looks a real travelly thing. I saw 6 to 1 there. That looked a real decent price. I thought progressed nicely from the Gowran run. And Willie Mullins, no real standout for me in the race this season. I think Gordon Elliott can make a back-to-back wins in the race, but Skylight Hustle, 6 to 1 looks a good price in that future novice.
Yes, it absolutely does. Well, some good selections hopefully there for you to get stuck into over the Christmas period. Right, we're going to head into our next ad break, and then we'll be looking at the best bets for Christmas.
Irish thanks, folks. It's going to be a Baltic winter, and our winter wonder is back here at EJ Menswear and EJMenswear.com. €279 for 5 pieces all in, including your wool coat. We've got an unbelievable selection in this. Start off with your coat, build that. Choose a top from a quarter zip net from Ted Smith. Any of our shirts, hundreds and hundreds of different combinations you can put together here. I've gone all black with the charcoal grey coat. Everything included in this, your coat, your quarter zip, or your shirt or your top, your bottoms. We even throw in the free scarf and socks. €279. It's a saving of over €200. The colours in the coats are class. You've got your camel there at the front. You've got your French navy. You have the black and you have the charcoal that I'm wearing here. A saving of over €200. The Winter Wonder Bundle is live now on the website, EJ Menswear and in-store in Grattan Street in Sligo.
Big happy Christmas to the lads down at EJ Menswear, of course. And don't forget, if you're going to be shopping on the sales, of course, you've got that fantastic code to put in as well. The EJ Menswear at 5% off. You get the extra 5% off when you put in Champ.ie. Simple as that. And a big happy Christmas to each and every one of the lads down in Sligo at EJ Menswear and ejmenswear.com. Right, Barry, on to the important part of the show. Find us some best bets and nap selections for the Christmas. I'm going to be very straightforward. I'm with Copacabana. That's going to be my best bet for the Christmas. It's going to be my nap pick for Christmas. What about you? What have you got for us?
A couple to mention for Willie Mullins just before my best bets, Dave. Leader Dallier had ran up a bit of a sequence on the level in France. He's really interesting. I think could be a really smart novice hurdle prospect in the 12:05. The 4-year-old race, of course, a 4-year-old maiden on the Leopardstown on the 26th, of course, a race won by Classical Dream and Copic de Boer as well. Dr. de Mesna, looking forward to seeing him as well, owned by Noel Monaghan. So Bangladestown connections there, Dave, and 11-length winner at Cork. Of course, Devil You Know is Frank the Form as well. So he runs in the 12:35 as only entry over Christmas. But best bets, Dave, let's keep it quite simple. Best bet Classical Creek in that, of course, 2 mile 7. Grade 2 novice hurdle at Limerick over Christmas. I think he's tailor-made for the race, and I think he'll take a bit of stopping. Django Bay, the next best, I think, in the King George, massive player. The race could be run to suit. Gaelic Warrior, Factifile, did they have a hard race in the John Durkin? I think they may have had. And this horse is building steadily and one of the most progressive horses in training. Looks all stamina. And Kempton should be tailor-made, I think, for Django Bay. So that's the next best. And come walk with me, Dave, in that on the 27 at Leopardstown in that handicap hurdle. I thought could be very well treated off 125 for that man. 123, I do believe. Sorry, Dave, over hurdles. 125 over fences, but off 1, 2, 3 looks really competitive, I think, off that sort of mark, considering the fact that Honesty Policy, some are talking about him as a contender for a Grade 1 and open company at the festival.
Yes, absolutely. Well, hopefully we found you some winners over the Christmas period, and we wish you, with your selections, all the best. And as Barry said earlier, don't forget to get your 5Cast selections in the comment section below. And just before, of course, Christmas, we'll be back with another little special show for you, looking ahead to the racing on St. Stephen's Day. Those brilliant prizes still that we will be giving away on the show leading up to St. Stephen's Day on the 27th. Breakfast with the Shark Handling, €150 shopping voucher for McDonough's Shopping Centre in Kilkenny, an Irish Field subscription, and that race and stay package for 2 in the Fairways Hotel in Dundalk. Barry, I've really enjoyed the first part of the Champ.ie horse racing podcast season leading up to Christmas. And I know we're looking forward to after Christmas, because we'll be building up to Cheltenham and all of the rest that will go with it. And one man that's, well, he's had a great run, hasn't he, is Stephen Thorne. He's going to see us out, isn't he? You've been catching up with him to get all the details ahead of Friday night at Dundalk.
Yeah, hopefully he can deliver the goods and be Santa Claus this Friday night. And hopefully, if you are watching before Christmas, you make your Christmas money with Stephen Thorne this Friday at, of course, Dundalk Racecourse. Right, Friday. Let's talk us through your runners for Friday then. The Friday before Christmas. What do we got?
Friday night, we've got 4 out. The 0-87 Ocean Manifest, obviously a very impressive winner of his maiden on his last start. Should have won a maiden long before then, but got the job done nicely. Joseph's horse has come out and won since. We've received a couple extra pounds from the handicapper after Joseph's filly has won, but hopefully that won't be enough to stop the horse on Friday. We have a nice draw in stall 3, and Jack Carney gets back on board him with Colin Keane being away to take the 3 off him. So that hopefully that'll help. He's still a lightly raced horse, and I'm hoping that he's still ahead of the handicapper. Perfect Judgment in the race is a 3-time winner last winter, dropping down in grade. The 7 furlongs, we were lacking mile options, so we'll have a crack at this on Friday. We were drawn wide, and we'll drop him in and get him to come home. Nicola Byrnes taking 5 off will hopefully be a help as well. But Ocean Manifest is likely to be the one in that race.
Far from Dandy, is the plan for Friday?
Yeah, declared for the 90-mile rated race. It's a rated handicap per se. I think there's 12 declared. We're drawn in stall 6 in the middle. We rode him for luck the last night, come to finish, and we'll probably do something similar here. He's in ripping form. I think we received £7 or £8 for the last day, but I'm hoping that, again, he's still only 3. He could still be on the improve. Obviously we're stepping up in grade, But I just like the way he hit the line the last night, and he's been very, very well since the run, and we're looking forward to Friday with him. Jack Carney will take the 3 off him as well. Ben Cohen has gone out to Dubai, but Jack will hopefully, he's ridden the horse previously, and I think the 3 off his back now that he's won will be a big help to the horse as well.
And the 8 o'clock race, Take Heart, Steve, in the Merry Christmas handicap. Will it be a Merry Christmas for Take Heart? Lovely individual.
Yeah, cracking individual, fine big horse, and an older horse that lost his way, ended up in the UK there for most part of the summer, best part of the summer months. Was previously with Johnny Murta, won a very valuable handicap in Goodwood last year, slipped right down the weights. So he's an interesting runner in the race, fresh horse back into Ireland in the system, compared to what he was taking on in the summer months on turf. This will be a much sort of much more of an easier contest, if you like, a good drop in grade in comparison to the handicap horse he was racing in during the summer. So he's already won his Dundalk Maiden all those years ago, so he handles the surface well. So there's been a huge change in horse since he came in, but it's a starting point on Friday. We just have him ready to start, and if he doesn't win on Friday, it'll be a lovely horse to look forward to there in the new year.
I don't see a grey beard or a red hat, but turn into Santa Claus for a minute. What horse is going to deliver the presents, do you think, this Friday in Dundalk?
Ocean Manifest and Far From Dandy are obviously 2 last time out winners. Very hard to split them, which one has the best chance. Far From Dandy has been a horse that's worked well since the moment he came into us, and he's done nothing but improve and progress. And I think now that he's got his head in front, hopefully he'll be able to fight a handicapper on Friday.
Happy Christmas, Steve.
Same to you, Barry.
From Dundalk to Longchamp, from the Galway races to the Breeders' Cup, Shamrock Thoroughbreds recently celebrated their 100th winner, and Ireland's leading racehorse syndicate has taken owners all over the world. Shamrock Thoroughbreds founder Stephen Thorne remarkably won the Winter Trainers' Championship at Dundalk during his first season as a racehorse trainer. Syndicate legend Harry's Bar produced a fairy tale ending by securing the title with career victory number 16. Operating to a win strike rate of over 29%, Stephen also celebrated an Irish Champions Weekend winner with Pink Oxalis powering home to victory at Leopardstown in September.
Pink Oxalis has won the last year at Leopardstown.
To experience success with Shamrock Thoroughbreds and Stephen Thorne Racing, check out ownership opportunities by visiting shamrockthoroughbreds.com.